let me show you an example of what happens in that mitigation. I just happen to know of a home that's kind of on a really jacked up home site. Let me show you if I can find this one.
Ooh,
Yeah, those are steep, but
what
that's
was that
kind of
true
the one
story?
right here. So this one right here, let me show this to you. Do you see where the bottom of the front door is? Do you see where the bottom of the garage is and how there's several steps down to get to it? So this is what's called stepping the foundation. So we had to do this on any steep home sites, and you can kind of see from right to left how this is sloping downhill. You see that? Kind of the sidewalk out here is the giveaway on this. The land is sloping downhill. Well, this is in Tennessee where it's hilly as well. A lot of topo there. Um, I would always explain to people in your market, like you're always going to deal with topo there for the most part. Now, ranch is a little unique, but for the most part, you're going to deal with topo.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like in Rant or even in Hills, they're trying to make everything like no steps, zero entry in the front door, and then it just creates steepness in the yard and the driveway.
yeah, and that's kind of the trade-off, right? You're trying to get one and therefore you deal with the other. But what you ultimately do is you do some extra blocks of foundation so that the driveway sits down and the garage floor sits down lower, and you're going to have steps going up from the garage. Um, you also, I don't know if you noticed this, but normally on a very flat home site, like anything in Oklahoma, where we're flat as a board here, the top of the front door will typically be the same height as the top of the garage door. So you can kind of see here that this is a stepped foundation by looking at this. Does that make sense? So I would have a conversation. In fact, I would call and talk to maybe Jordan and Casey. Jordan's going to be the one in charge of it, but I'd be talking to the guys about are we doing anything to mitigate this for these people?
Yeah, I thought we had that conversation. Well, I made this. I keep shooting myself, the truth about when you make an assumption, I guess. But
I think I would just have the conversation again, though, and just circle back to it.
yeah, because I need to know, And then Jordan's like, "Well, it's not that steep." And I'm like, "Well, you're 27, Jordan. You're not 70.
Right.
Like you're not the one that's going to have to try and get a dumpster up and down this driveway."
Right. Yep. I hear
Even Doug,
you.
even Doug was, even when he was in town, he said he was concerned about the steepness on 12. I'm
I
like, well,
was
you're the one that
definitely
said you were going to step these down, and then now here we're building these, and we that conversation was fart in the wind.
right. I would circle back to them on it. And if you want me to, I mean, I'll be glad to circle
Well,
back.
I should do it. I don't want to sound like like, hey, Ty titled to me that he's frustrated with the steepness of these driveways.
Yeah.
I just need to talk to them because in the future, I need.
Well, we don't want another lot three situation. And as the salesperson, you do need to sometimes say to the builder, hey, you want me to sell this, you want this saleable. We gotta address this situation. Any good builder listens to their salespeople when they tell them what does or doesn't sell. And if you're being mindful of those things, I think it's really important that there's a feedback chain up to the top. At
Well,
Shaw
I guess
Homes,
I
I'm
mean,
just going to tell you, I listened to the salespeople a lot, and I sometimes they said stupid things, and I was like, "Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about." But other times, like they're there in the field and they're more observant. I mean, I had some salespeople who just didn't know what they were talking about, is what I'm saying. You are not one of those people, and I think you're bringing
when
up
I'm
a good
wrong, I need
point
to
to be
know.
aware of.
I'm just past the point of return. I mean, obviously, we're not going to tear up these foundations and do it over, but
Nope.
it's like the worst two clients it could have happened with in my mind. I guess I should have made more of a point in the beginning that we need to make sure that these were flat, but I thought,
They're not going to be like 3, are they?
no, they're not going to be anywhere near 3, but they're just beyond what I expected.
Yeah. I would just be onward and upward and see what happens then. If you're saying they're already in, the foundations are in for both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of them's uh, the one on lot 12. The foundation's done. It's framed. They're starting to set trusses today. Uh, for I asked Jordan. I was like, "Hey, is this one going to be as steep as that one? Because this is the sister that's really, has a harder time getting around." He's like, "Well, it'll be about halfway between the model and that." I'm like, the excavation was already being done. So
Yeah.
like, I want to
Ex
go out there, like looking. To me, it looks like the top of the foundation, 10 feet away from this model home I'm sitting in, 11 is going to be about 3 feet higher, which seems a lot to me.
that is a lot,
And
actually.
I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not. The boys are out there working and want to get in their way today.
Yeah. I would have the conversation as soon as we get done. And I would just say, hey, just one more time, asking one more time. Because you don't, let me put it this way. They don't want those deals to bust more than you don't want it to bust. The builder has a bigger risk than you do, for sure. And
Yeah,
they would much rather the customer is happy even than you. So you got to understand their perspective is, I don't want to be stuck with both of these as spec homes and lose my 2 buyers. That would not be good at all for the builder.
no.
So they should be more sensitive to that than you are, even once you
What do
remind
you do in a situation like this? And I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just being worrisome about it. But if the sister that lives here in town and helped them through this whole thing drives by and comes, do I wait for her to come to me and say, Ty, what's going on? How come these are way steeper than I thought they were going to be? I thought you said they would be flat. Um, or do I reach out to them and say, do you want to look at this and see?
I would not reach out to them because we're not going to tear it out if it's already done. I would go to the guys as soon as possible and have this conversation and go, I'm worried that these customers are going to have a problem with this. I would have that conversation as soon as possible with them. They should care more than you do.
Yeah.
And if they're like, it'll be fine, and they're just like, whatever, I would not go call the customer and say, please come look at these driveways and tell me
No.
if you're okay. That's just opening a can you might not have to open. They may not say anything about it.
Yeah, they might not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and when it happens, and if they do come in and go, I'm concerned about it, just say, okay, well, let me have a conversation with the guys and I'll get back to you. Don't give them an answer right then.
Oh, yeah.
Just put it off and let's you and I talk about how to best try and mitigate the damage at that point.
Okay.
But yeah, we did have that conversation with Doug. Doug did say he doesn't want to do that again. I don't know if Casey and Jordan are aware that Doug said that.
And I understand there's other things to take in
into
consideration.
consideration.
You can't ruin what needs to be done. The rest, you can have no slope for the home to drain properly and things like that. But that's where Doug talked about coming up with some solutions to mitigate that, whether it be a retaining wall, step in the lots, or something like that.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So the short answer is there's not really a way for me to that's not like on a site plan. There's no way to know other, because things can be deceiving. It looks flat, looks great. Just if someone's really adamant that they need I just need to maybe say we need to talk to the team about what can be done and what can't be done.
I never promise slope to customers, slope or grade things to customers because you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Because let me just say this. I'm going to ask Jordan this question. He's kind of overhearing this conversation. Jordan, whenever a customer told us about a piece of land that they had that they wanted to build a home on, how did they describe that piece of land 100% of the time?
Flat.
Flat. Every time.
Every time.
100% of the time. It's so flat. When we went out and measured, what was it?
Not flat.
Never flat, ever. But every customer will tell you it's flat every time. We went out to this one, and it literally, in Oklahoma, we don't do basements. I remember this one who came and they were like, it's like the flattest piece of land you've ever seen. We went out there and we actually could do a walkout basement. That it was like a 14-foot drop from the front of the home to the back of the home.
It's flat if you turn your head like this.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was like, folks, first of all, stop taking hallucinogenic drugs. And secondly, you need a level to carry
It's
in your
flat, man.
Yeah.